G'day folks, welcome back to the channel for episode number 8 of our Aether Pets Ritualist, where last episode we finished up Darkvale Gate and started the trek north, did some, what are they called, Death's Vigil, did some Death's Vigil quests, and I think it's time to continue north. Both of the quests that we have remaining are effectively go north to find more stuff, so let's do that. Getting caught on some terrain there, that's always fun. Twice in a row. Alright, so a lot of this stuff you can just, walk past it. Keep an eye on your health if you're going to do this, because you are effectively running face first into piles of monsters, and they do tend to attack the thing that they see first. But you can just kind of jog through, teleport past things as you see them, and we'll head north fairly quickly. This part of the game is fairly sparse in terms of things to do. There are the trip south notes, somehow or for some reason. They are numbered in reverse order, so he actually wrote 4 and then 3 and then 2 and then 1, because we have it's a trip south, so they're starting up here and heading this way, and we have number 1 closest down here, so that's a little bit confusing, but yeah, you have those notes, you have the occasional totem, and you have the waypoints, but aside from that, there's not a huge amount to actually do on the trip to Fort Ikon, so I am going to skip a lot of it. However, people who've been watching the channel for a while know that I love me some totems, so we're doing this one. Again, pop Call of the Grave, pop Bone Harvest, and then teleport away. And pray for pet drops, which we didn't get, but we did get a couple of recipes for the Adept's Wand, which we will never use, the Inferno Relic, which we will never use, but that does kind of remove them from the pool of available relic blueprints, so it's not a complete loss. It basically just gives us an increased chance to find the ones we do want. Alright, here's Trip South Part 2. Just grabbing these for XP. Realistically, it doesn't matter if you miss these completely. It's, I mean, it's free XP, but unless you're interested in the story, you can get XP from just walking around the next corner and killing whatever's there. And especially on a pet build, I mean, realistically, I'm not really doing anything here. I'm just walking, and the pets are killing things around me. So it's more of a collection thing than anything else. There is, on the Grim Tools website, there is a checklist you can go to that will show you all of the lore notes that you've collected. It will show you all of the one-shot chests you've collected, all that sort of stuff. So if you want to collect all this stuff, there is a way to track it, but it's not hugely important just for the XP side of things. It is really cool in terms of the story, the lore of the world. As I said in earlier episodes, the lore and such of this particular game world is built through the use of these lore notes, and they are just, a little snippet of what was happening around the time of the Grim Dawn, and they're good fun to read. Right, so in terms of skills, I think we're done with the Necromancer side of things for a little bit, and we're going to continue putting points into Briarthorn and the Shaman Bar. We're sort of heading for Ground Slam. I do want Oak Skin. I do want Primal Bond. I do want Conjure Primal Spirit. And I'm sort of on the fence about the Wendigo Totems. We'll see. It'll be one of the latter things that I take, but I probably will end up taking it. I don't remember if the guide by Uncle Mac uses the totems. I imagine it does, just for healing the pets. Keeping them alive is good. But I don't remember, so we will have to see. Alright, let's get some damage buffs up for the boys. They can kill this guy. No pet stuff, unfortunate, but it is what it is. this particular shrine is sealed by chthonic energies. Basically, this is a quest shrine, and you need, what is it? You need, where's the button? Rovers. I imagine this is going to be the honored quest. Yeah, I think it's the honored quest. With the rovers, they will send you to do a bunch of stuff, and it ends up with you getting this shrine. We're not honored, so we're just gonna walk past. There's a totem up here though, and I like totems. There is a devotion shrine in a different area just here, so we will get that as well at some point. Totem cleared. Handguards of Perdition. Perdition set is actually really common, so if you're interested in making a Retaliation build, a lot of people say you can't level as Retaliation. That's rubbish. You absolutely can. You can level as Retaliation from like level 4 or something if you want to make a Warlord. It's not fast, but you can do it, and it's perfectly fine. But the Perdition set at level 40, as you can see, increase armor, acid damage, acid retaliation, flat acid retaliation. It's really good. More of a sentinel thing than a warlord thing, but while you're leveling, you just want sources of flat retaliation because percent retaliation stuff applies to all of it. It doesn't matter if it's lightning, fire, physical, acid, whatever. It just works on all of it. So you just want as much as you can get while you're leveling. I have done a Retaliation Warlord build before. I ended up deleting it actually before I finished it, but the leveling was pretty smooth past about level 20. A little bit difficult to get going, but it was good fun. Just walking through areas and watching monsters ragdoll themselves across the screen because they hit you. It's good fun. Right, as far as pets go though, what are we doing now? We're still heading north, collecting our XP. This is part of the reason why I was a little bit hesitant to do a pet build is because there's a lot of walking and a lot of hiding behind walls waiting for your pets to kill things. There's not a whole lot of, prioritize this target because, okay, you can do it, and there's not a lot of don't stand in the fire, which you can tell your pets not to stand in the fire, but it's a lot of micromanagement, and honestly, it's a lot easier to just resummon them when they stand in stupid. So there's not a huge amount to actually talk about when it comes to playing pets. You just summon them and you walk around and collect the loot. Um, using Bone Harvest or whatever to buff them as you go along. What we could talk about though is what gear we're going to be looking at next. So I think the next MI we have access to, strictly speaking, I'm probably not going to go and get it. But the next MI we have access to is actually the rings. And we could go and farm some rings in Darkvale Gate, because if you, where are we? Darkvale Gate, the boss of here, Karoz, I think his name is, he drops a ring that has pet stats on it, which is really good. But the problem is, he drops it about, I think it's 1 in 3 or 1 in 2, something like that. It's not 100% of the time. The I in MI is infrequent after all. But he doesn't drop it all the time, so you've got to kill him a bunch, and it's a bit of a trek to get to him. So probably in Ultimate, it might be worth doing if you decide that that is a ring that you want. But the other thing is you can go into the Bastion of Chaos, and there's a vendor in there that will actually sell you the rings. And so you can use the vendor reset, we'll call it a trick, where you just go back to the first floor, count to 10, and then come back to the second floor. I think the vendor's on the second floor. And it will have reset. And so, you know what, we're going to max Brythorn. And because of that, you can just reset his shop until you get two of these rings that are, pretty good. Maybe they have the resistances you want, something like that. And you can just do that until you get whatever you particularly want. And so doing that is much better than resetting your client and running through Darkvale Gate, getting not much XP, and then, hang on, I still wanted that hat, didn't I? Yeah, it's a better way of farming, but also, those rings are good for leveling, but they're going to take a while to get, and they're not the rings that we actually want for the end of the game. So at level 90, we'll be using the Wendigo cult's rings, and a lot of the gear we're actually going to be using is faction. So the the pants we'll be using will probably be Bismeal Sect. The chest and shoulders will most likely be Coven or Wendigo cult. The weapons are from the or this the weapon, I guess, because we're not going to be dual wielding, is going to be from Warden Krieg. The helmet is going to be an MI dropped in Malmo. This is probably the amulet that we're going to use for most of the leveling. Although if I find a better one of the same thing in Elite or Ultimate, we'll swap it out. The offhand is going to be an MI from the ghosts in Malmo. Gloves are going to be whatever we can find, so probably gloves and boots are going to be resistance slots. The ribbon is going to be an MI from, I think, the Wendigos or the Basilisks in the swamps of Ugdenbog, and the belt is going to be a crafted faction one as well. So it's kind of like a lot of this stuff is targetable, but a lot of this is faction, so all this is faction stuff. The rings are going to be faction reputation stuff. Yeah. Right, so I just swapped the pants out. And these ones had a little bit of poison, had a little bit of elemental, which was still way over the cap for elemental, which is good. So these had considerably more armor, almost double, more health, some physical resist, which is really nice, and pierce and bleed res. Now we've got tons of pierce, but we're a little low on bleed. With that said, we can now take the silk swatch off of our chest and put a Bismeal's bindings on there. Because these pants have such large amounts of resistances on them, we can swap that around a bit. So I'm going to take one of these, I'm going to take these pants and that chest, and we're going to fix that up, and then we'll get on with... I'm going to try and remember not to reset that portal, because I don't want to have to run back. Alright, here we go. Can I do it? Can I resist the urge to accidentally reset my portal? Okay, so we keep the item. Yep. We put that on there. We melt these for the add-on. Put that on there. Okay. And our resistances are kind of okay. They're not amazing, but they're okay. We need a little more poison, we need a lot more Aether, and we need a little bit more vitality. But I think we are okay. Alright. Let's go and use that portal before I forget about it. It's my favorite trick in this game. Put a portal down, say I'm going to come back later, and then don't. Resummon the pet, and let's go get us some ashes. Everything's good, all our buffs are on, we have our skeletons, we have our other pets. Let's go. So this tomb is basically a fight between these two factions. Depending on which side you picked, will depend on what you have to fight in here. We are playing a necromancer, so we didn't really have a choice. Although there is a way to join the Kaimon with a necromancer, and that way is to join as for example, if you were doing it with this build, you would join as a shaman in normal, and then in elite, when you're a ritualist, so you're half necromancer, they will be very unhappy with you, but they will let you continue to work with them. Managed to whiff both of my bone harvests there. Alright, Glyph of Sudden Strikes. So this looks like it's a shield charge kind of movement skill. I didn't see any pet affixes there, but I was only reading the second one, the suffixes, not the prefixes. But that's fine. We'll have a look when we sell it all. Alright, here we go. So heading deeper in, we are here for some ashes, and while we're here we're going to kill a bunch of Kaiman's Chosen. Not the biggest fan of Kaiman's Chosen. If you've played the Forgotten Gods stuff, you'll kind of understand that they're kind of being used. Which, you know, they're not very clever, are they? Put it that way. Though having said that, I've not exactly outsmarted many gods myself, so maybe it's not quite as black and white as I say. Alright, I've successfully found a dead end. No, I haven't. I am going the right way. Alright, next floor. Now this area has a, we'll call it a secret area at the end of it, that is well worth going into, because there is a devotion shrine in there. We are going to kind of, not speed run, but speedier run, completely in the wrong direction, until we get to the last area. Because this section here, we're just killing foot soldiers. We don't really care about this. I am watching my health though, so yes, I see it going down. Going through areas like this is a little risky on a squishier character. Doing this on the Ikon that we've just finished would be no problem, because his face is made of, like, you know, steel. There's a lot of armor involved in that build, there's a lot of health, a lot of regen, and a lot of leech. This build is considerably squishier, and if you've been paying attention, I've been burning through potions and using the heal on the Grave Chill fairly liberally, we'll say. Which is effective, but you do have to be careful. And hiding behind walls is a good way to do it. So this, right here, at the end, there is a torch on the wall. We'll open this door, and here is the crypt entrance that goes to the area with the devotion shrine that we want. But this is the guy we're here for first. So this is Archon Bartholom, who we are going to kill. So the pets will kill him pretty quick. You can hide behind a wall. Probably didn't need to do this, but it's safer. Wreath of Souls. This, I think, is, yep, +1 to Necromancer. That's actually not bad. I do like the +3 to raise skeletons, but +1 to Necromancer would also be quite good. So if we put that on, we would lose 3 on raised skeletons. Well, actually, we'd lose 2, so we'd be back to 24 out of 26. But we would gain 1 on Undead Legion, 1 on Will of the Crypt, 1 on, you know, all this stuff would go up by 1. So I don't think we can actually wear it because of resistances. Actually, there's no resistances. Let's chuck that on, see what happens. So, yep, 24 out of 16. We've now got, could potentially get another skeleton by swapping in those Undead Legion gloves. Our Blight Fiend got a little beefier, a little more damage, a little more aggro. We gained, what's that, like 15% all damage and 2% crit damage from Call of the Grave. More life from this. It's actually not a bad helmet. I'm not going to wear it for now, but I might hang on to it. It is hard though, because that's got 15% LE resist is all it has, other than the pet stats that matters. Or sorry, other than the +1 to Necro. It's definitely not worth using, but yeah, maybe. Let's go down. Actually, did I gather the ashes? I forget. Is it in the sarcophagus? No, I must have already had it. That's fine. I'm gonna loot the treasure room back here as well, because we're not coming back this way. We're just going to use a rift to portal out once we're done downstairs. Okay. So this area, there's a lot of bleeding damage. If your resistances are not up to snuff, you can take a decent amount of damage in here. The ghouls will put pools of blood on the ground that will cause you to take damage over time. They're really annoying for your pets as well, because pets are not good at not standing in things, shall we say. You see that red stuff on the ground? I'll go stand in it, and taking bleeding damage every second. So it's a little bit annoying, but it is what it is. As I say, that you can go through and call your pets away from standing in the blood, and you could do that, but realistically, it's just easier to resummon them when they're finished killing everything. They are dying though, for sure. But you just push the buttons to resummon them, and you're fine, and you go on your way. If you were using the exploding Blight Fiend as well, you would have, I think, 2 or 3 of them by now as well, which is, again, they're not bad for tanks if you've got them, but they're not good for the bosses. And for trash, you really don't need them. Alright, so that is our shrine done, which means I think we're doing Behemoth. Yep. So a bit of health for our pets, bit of health for us, and next level we get the Giant's Blood. Next level is now. Giant's Blood, and I'm going to put that on Mogdragon's Pact, but any of your permanent buffs will be fine. You could put it on Spectral Binding. Don't put it on Call of the Grave, that's a temporary buff. You want it to be available all the time. So now when I get hit, does it show up here? Yep, at the bottom there. When I get hit, there's a 15% chance that I get a flat 400 plus 8% of my health healed, and then I get a bunch of regeneration as well. And that flat health regen per second is also multiplied by any buffs I may have. For example, this one, I think it is, increase health regeneration by 6%. So actually that plus 40 is, what's that? Plus 42.4 or something like that. I don't know. Maths is hard even when you're not recording video. Right, so that is the tomb done. We'll go turn that in. So we'll teleport to Sorrow's Bastion. Go for a jog up this hill here. Reset my skeletons because I killed them all in pools of blood. This also gets a lot easier. When you get the Ascended Cowl from Malmo, it will give you, I think it's plus 4 every time you summon, so you'll be summoning 7 skeletons at a time instead of just 3. And at that point, it really makes no sense at all to try and micromanage your pets. Okay. And we don't have enough faction reputation with these guys to do the next quest yet. We did get the Death Chill Relic, which is cold damage. It's an aura which gives cold and vitality damage, it looks like. Which would actually probably be good for if we're doing like a Vitality Kabbalist or something. Probably be alright. But we're not, so we're not. We are now waiting for Honored with the Death's Vigil to get their next quest. And I'm just going to double check I'm not selling a really good pet item here by keeping that active. I did find, while I was doing a little bit of shopping between episodes, and to be clear, you didn't miss anything, I didn't buy anything, I was just looking. But the Roari, the rovers basically, have a chess piece with some pet stats on it, which is pretty good. And I think there was shoulders as well. What does this one do? No plus to skills, not interested. No plus to skills, not interested. Not that I can buy them anyway. So this one gives health and vitality resist. I think we've already checked that. Let's move on. I think we can probably do Fort Ikon have to go outside. Rift gates don't work inside. I think we can probably do Fort Ikon before before the end of the episode. Okay, so Fort Ikon is a lot of Aether damage, and Aether is very, very low for resistances for us right now. So there's a couple of ways you can get around that. The first one is if you have any Aether resistance potions, which it doesn't look like I have. So I'm going to go back to Homestead, and I'm going to get some. This is the benefit of siding with the merchant rather than the guy who's going to give you a ring. So you side with Isaiah Redden in Act 2, and you can buy these rings from him. Okay, I'm actually checking for a new medal because the one we have is kind of meh. So yeah, you can, because we took his side during what that one was, Mr. Shrine. Because we took the side of the merchant, I'll finish this thought eventually, I promise. We have him available to us in Homestead, and if we just keep resetting him, eventually he will have an Aether resistance potion available to us. The other thing we could do is there's a similar to the adornment or the component we have on our helmet right now. This one. This is Sanctified Bone. There's also an Aether version of the same thing that we could craft, but again, it's a little bit expensive. These are not what I was after. Let's see what options we have available. I think there's is it Wardstones? I think we can do so. Aether resistance, Aether Soul. I think is the one I was thinking of. That goes in amulets and metals, so we could replace the elemental and bleeding resist that we kind of need the bleeding. Purified salt is in weapons and shields, so that's no good. Runestone is the one I was thinking of. So this goes in your helmet, same as this one. So we would lose vitality and chaos. We would be below cap on both of those, I believe. And Wrathstones give Aether Retaliation, not Aether Resistance. So those are kind of out as well. We could make an item that has resistances on it, which is not really something I'm hugely excited about doing. So I think what we are probably going to end up doing is a little bit of shopping to get some resistance potions. The other thing you could do is you could just risk it. You will kill the boss in there pretty quickly, and as long as you dodge his meteor, you should be fine. But because this is hardcore, should be fine means might be dead. So I'm just going to reset this merchant a couple more times. Hopefully get an Aether resistance potion from him, and then we'll be good to go. And I am just checking for a new medal as well. So this one here, we got it because it has +2 to raise skeletons, but realistically, that's all it has. A Necromancer's Ribbon of something, Resistant Ribbon of Caged Souls would be great. We just have to find something. Though it's, like I said, it's not the end of the world. We're going to replace that in Act 5, which is coming up anyway. Alright, we'll go for one more reset, and then we'll just wing it. And I should be fine to dodge the meteor. It's usually the third thing he does, I think. And he should be dead before he does it twice. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's go. Alright, we're just going to wing it. I did buy a lot of potions there, though. which is pretty good. Actually, wonder if the faction guys sell Aether Resist. Nah, not this guy. That's fine. That's fine. We'll wing it. Just be aware if you're doing this, if you're playing along and you're playing on hardcore, you definitely want to be careful just winging it. There's a decent chance that just winging it will end up with you dead. I am gonna see. Did we get an extra skeleton out of doing that? Yes, we would. So if we put these on, it would be enough to give us an extra skeleton. We would have 11 instead of 10. But that's fine. Let's continue on. Stop waffling. Do something. Good thing about Fort Ikon is it's relatively short. Bad thing about Fort Ikon is you can be shotgun killed by the boss. Okay, that's a lot of mages, that's good. A lot of archers, that's good as well. Okay. So we go in here, there's just the one floor for the Fort Ikon Armory. There's two things in here we want. The first thing is the supplies from inside the armory. And that is going to be, I think in the next room here. But it's fairly obvious where they are when you get to them. Yep, there they are. There's a big star on the map. And here's the Legion supplies. That dynamite is always there as well, so this is another place you could come if you were so inclined, and if you wanted, if you needed dynamite for some reason, you could get it here. It's not that far away from the Fort Ikon Riftgate. Having said that, whenever I farm dynamite, I just do it in the mines in Act 2. Seems like it's the best place. And the other thing we're here for is to kill Commander Lucius, who's turned himself into a tank. Literally turned himself into a tank. Or an artillery piece, I think. But he should die pretty quickly. That's a lot of stuff in there. I'm just gonna... Actually, I'm just gonna walk through it. Alright, so here is the doorway to the boss in here. Double check our pets. We'll resummon them to make sure they have full health. And I'm gonna wait for the cooldown on Call of the Grave, because 62% all damage and 8% crit damage is pretty good. If I had managed to find an Aether Resistance potion, I would be using it now. Actually, I probably would have used it at the door, but I didn't, so I'm not. Okay, I am going to lead with the pets, send them in first. And here we go. You watch him, he'll do a shotgun with his arm, then he'll do like a flamethrower with his arm. That one there. And the next thing he would have done is a meteor style attack with Aether meteors coming down, and that is what you really want to dodge. I would say only on normal would I come in here without maxed Aether resistance. I'm certainly not going to do that again on Elite or Ultimate, especially Ultimate. The unprepared people on Ultimate end up dead. That said, he killed 2 skeletons, and that's it. So, we have the dynamite from him. We will, or the heavy explosive, sorry, and we'll blow this wall off and go talk to some Black Legion peoples. So back into Fort Ikon. We still didn't speak to Inquisitor Creed, who I think is one who was going to send us in to do those quests. So he's going to send us to Necropolis. We got another level, which is nice. I think our health is okay. We're at level 41, so 4,100 is kind of our floor for we feel really squishy if we don't have that. I've actually got enough health, I think. I want more armor if I can get it. So this is at least 4 levels away. I think the Briarthorn is probably fine as he is. And increasing this will just give us a little bit more health and some regen. Increasing this will give us flat physical damage as an aura, which is nice because that's converted on our pets. So we could pump Mogdrogan's Pact. We could put more points into Summon Briarthorn. Or we could, I think we put it in the bar. Let's get up to Ground Slam and get our Briarthorn tanking for us. Okay, with the supplies we just got from Fort Ikon, you can give them to the Weapons Master Edric here, and you will get plus 500 Black Legion and minus 250 Homestead. You could alternatively take them to Homestead, and you would get plus Homestead and minus Black Legion. You also get scrap and another bag for this. You always want to talk to this guy, the Black Legion. You always want to give those supplies to these guys, because Homestead Reputation, minus 250, that's nothing. You'll go and you'll kill a couple of bears in the wilderness and they'll have forgiven you. The Black Legion, if you look at what gives reputation for them, killing Ethereal Vanguard. Okay, this is only in Act 5. All the Ethereals around here, they count as Ethereals, not as Ethereal Vanguard. I can't show you, but the Ethereal Vanguard is a separate faction for Ashes of Malmo. Killing the Outcast, which is a single boss, who is in this door just here. We'll go talk to her in a minute. Doing their quests, which are limited. There is a limited number of the quests, and they will not get you to Revered with just the quest. Or doing bounties, which are a pain in the butt because it's, go to the arse end of nowhere and kill this dude who might be here or he might be over there. He could be in this other area completely. And you have to look up where they are. So they're a pain in the backside. And there's not a huge amount of ways to get faction with them. Homestead is easy, so always deliver to these guys. Now, Captain Reeve here has a quest to deal with a witch. Now, this is the Outcast, and for us, she kind of doesn't matter. We don't care too much about any of her gear. She's more for spellcasters. We don't care about any of the gear from her faction. We don't care about any of the gear from killing her. She's just kind of here. So I think she does have a couple of decent... yeah, this Aether-resistant warding powder is pretty good. But aside from that, let's just... pets. Nothing. Not a single item. Any gear with plus to skeletons? No. So we actually don't care about her. So what you do, you just talk to her, you can tell her Captain Reeve wants her dead, why are you under protection? And then you can choose to defy Reeve, and then I can't help you right now. All this does, you lost 250 Black Legion reputation, you gained 250 Outcast reputation, and now, if you have a look at the Outcast, where is she? At the bottom there. Okay, killing Ethereals. Ethereals are everywhere. You're going to kill millions of them. Chthonians, we're about to go into Chthonian Central. They're everywhere. You're going to kill tons of them. Okay, these two alone will be enough to max the Outcast. Don't do her quests. Her quests will nuke your Black Legion reputation, and the Black Legion does have things we want. So, actually, realistically, I probably wouldn't even recommend unlocking her. But you do it once and you unlock her, and then somewhere towards the end of Elite or the start of Ultimate, you realize, oh hey, she's revered, and that's it. You get access to her augments, which the augment for 12% ethereal resistance is pretty good, I will admit. Okay, so next mission is to head north to the Necropolis. Having said that, we are pushing 40 minutes for this episode, so I'm going to end it here. I will see you next time for the Necropolis. So thank you very much for watching, and bye for now.